Who says that racing can't be fun? As a matter of fact, that's the only way I really like to do a race. Hey, this is Lisa from the Running University, and I'm here to help you put the fun in your run. And today I'm back with a vlog of one of the last races that I did with my TRU Tribe, and it's called the Copper Corridor Race, and it's here in Phoenix, Arizona, actually in Superior, Arizona, which is a little bit up northeast of Phoenix, and we call it the Hidden Gem. It's one of the most beautiful races, and even though I say this about every Aravaipa race, that I love every one of them, and a lot of that has to do with how well they organize their races, has to do with the volunteers, and they're just a great racing company, so that always makes every race a great experience. But then when you add in one of the most beautiful locations, so we live in the desert here in Arizona, and Copper Corridor the race is usually in the middle or end of February, and it's beautiful. Sometimes we have gotten some rain, so we have some water crossings, and it's just so super pretty. And I wanted to share some of my pictures and experiences from the race that we just did last weekend. And yes, it was last weekend. And I wanted to share them with you because this was a ladies training program, and it's the second time I do a ladies training program for this race, and I think I'm going to do one again next year because it's a great first time trail race. As a matter of fact, we had 2 ladies in the tribe do their first trail race, and both of them are over 60, which is awesome. So I'm going to go ahead and start showing you those pictures here now. So the only one thing I don't like about this race is that there's 2 different start lines, and I love to be at everybody's start line and finish line, and unfortunately I wasn't able to do this. So I did the 12K, and the reason I chose to go to do this race in the start line is because I had the 2 people who had never done a trail race yet, so I wanted to be there, and I missed one of their finish lines because they were faster than me, but we'll get into that story here in a minute. So the cool thing about the race is there's so many distances, anybody can really do it. Starting out with the 5-miler, which is a new addition, and the 5-miler is gravelly road, and it's about 2.5 miles up a hill and then back down. And one of our ladies did that one. I don't have any pictures of her, but it's the first time she did it. She loved it. She said she would do it again. That's Jenny. And then we had the 12K. So this is our 12K group. Not every member here is a TRU Tribe member, but most of them are. There's a 17K that starts somewhere else. The 5-miler starts at the other place. And the 31K, we had a few people doing that because they're training for Crown King. And then the 50K, which we've never had anybody do the 50K yet at this race. So this is the 12K start, and this is the group that was there. Again, a couple of people. But here Christine is doing her first one, and then Sue also is doing her first. And Sue's 67 years old, so I'm very excited that they are doing their first trail race. So you just saw the selfie. We also had somebody that wanted to come up and take a picture of us, which I'll always take because that way I get to get in the picture instead of having my big head in the way. This right here is the other start line I was talking about, and I'm very grateful that sometimes everybody remembers to get the pictures before they go. Here's Michelle doing her longest trail race, and she's from Chicago, but she came out to do this race and do her longest one, and Jan in the middle, and Christy also, one of our newer members in the TRU Tribe. So they were all doing the 17K. And then here, Christy made it back into this picture. She was actually going to do the 33K with the rest of the group, but she made a good call and decided not to. Her ankles were bothering her, and she also has a big race coming up, so she made the right call there. And then here, Tina, Gretchen, and Amy are all doing Crown King, so the 33K fit perfectly in with their training plan, and so that's what they did. That's how they started, so I'll proceed to share more. And then this right here, this is Darla, who used to be a tribe member, and this is a quick little video of one of the first water crossings. That's so much fun. So fun. This is one of the reasons I love this course. I'm videotaping and I'm going to try not to fall down while I do this. Don't let me hold you back. And so it's just so pretty. That's what I just really do love about this race, is it's very different than Arizona. And here again, we're starting to go up. There's one really big climb. And again, I hiked most of it. You know, we're just going up. You can see at this point, it's a little rocky, but single track. And again, you can start seeing this is the hill up here that everybody is going up. So again, we had this group doing the 12K. At this point, I think most people are in front of me. And so here you can see the roads coming this way, and all the way down here you can see some runners. So this is where you start going downhill, but the scenery is just so gorgeous. And again, here's another really good, just quick scenic view. You know, the videos don't do it justice. You can hear me breathing here. And then again, just moving right in to the trail and just looking at these gorgeous views, kind of almost look like Bryce Canyon. And here, this is usually a little greener. It's green on the ground, but usually the trees are green. And this is when I say I feel like I'm in Middle Earth, but this is really pretty too. And again, here's another water crossing. I don't think maybe I got 1 foot wet. So I can't remember how many water crossings we had. We definitely had several. Last year we had a lot too. So it's just what makes it such a pretty and fun race. And, you know, here again, you can see, whoops, that actually was a video. Another quick little video. And again, this is usually a lot greener, but the grass was really green. You know, you get to go along the creek, and then you're back onto a single track, and it's just so pretty. And again, we're not sitting here trying to win the race. We're just having a good time. And then here's some of the tribe members. These 3 are members of the tribe. She was one of their friends who came along. I think this was her first trail race. She lives in California. And so I happened to catch up to them barely and then got a chance to run with them for a while. So I think this is Trisha's longest trail race as well. So she did her longest trail race at this event. And then here we ran into Renee, who was not in any of the start line pictures, but Renee was also doing the 33K. She had been out on an injury. She's very happy because she's finally back to running, so you could see how happy she is. Unfortunately, she disqualified at this race. I always say these are great learning lessons, right? But what had happened is there's a point on the 33K where you have to go out and back from an aid station, and unfortunately she missed that part. And sometimes it's so easy for that to happen. We always say don't follow runners and really pay attention to the course. Make sure you know your course. So she did all of that. But you know, sometimes you're in the middle of a race and anything can happen. So still super proud of her. I think she still ended up with a good 15 miles, but it was great to see her and she was happy, which is the most important thing, that she's back out running on the trails. So here we were leaving National Forest land, and again, you could just see sometimes we're in the trees. Let's see, I think I have a little here, how out of breath I move. My camera got blurry. Anyway, so you see what happens. We run a little bit, we walk a little bit. This was just something really random in the trail, no idea, but it was a not a rubber ducky, a stuffed duck with a teddy bear, not even sure, but anyway, had to get a picture of that. Then we got through our finish line, and the cool thing about the race is so long as people were still behind us, we could see the people that were going to the other finish line to finish. So this is Gretchen. She was doing the 33K, so we were very excited that we got to see her. Obviously, she's also having a really good time. This is how we roll in the tribe. We're not trying to win the race. I say this all the time. Here we have Steph and Christine, and this is also Christine's very first race, her very first trail race. And at the beginning, I did point her out. So Sue, who was also doing her first trail race at 67 years old, really power hiked the whole thing. And at one point she got ahead of me and I just couldn't catch her. So as much as I like to be at their finish lines, I was super bummed. Just couldn't catch up to her, but I was able to be here for Christine's. And you know, we talked about a DQ already. These two on the 12K are DFL, which means dead effin last. And do they look like they care at all? No, they don't, because they had an awesome race and a beautiful time in a beautiful location. Who cares? We're not trying to win the race. So here comes Steph coming through the finish line, and here comes Christine coming through the finish line. And when you see other people behind, they're actually people doing the longer distances that are going to pass this finish line and go on to the other one, which is a couple more miles. So here they are. So again, Steph's been trail running for, and Christine, it was her first trail race, and this is that mountain that you could see earlier. It's so pretty. and beautiful. So I'm super proud of them because they're just, they just started their trail running or trail racing life. And I want to say, I know Sue's already signed up for the Damn Good Run, which I did a vlog on that from last year that I'll go ahead and put up here in the corner somewhere. And then there's a bar that, again, we've done this a couple years in a row. And this was, again, it was really hard because we get a little bit disconnected at the finish line. And this was the group who all had come in already. And, we usually celebrate with a good drink. And then Amy, who was doing the 33K, because we're talking about all the different things that could happen at a race, she ended up having a DNF, which is a did not finish. And it was a great call. Again, sometimes you have to make these calls when you're in the middle of a race. And this was not her A race. She has Crown King. That was 4 weeks away from this race, 3 or 4 weeks. I can't remember now. And she hadn't had enough electrolyte. She hadn't fueled properly. She wasn't feeling well. So I'm super proud of her for making the decision to end the race when she did versus trying to push through and then possibly making it worse so that she couldn't do her A race. And that's a really important race. So I'm really proud of her for making that decision. We're always learning as we go on when we're running. Here's a really cool part. So when we were sitting down, actually over here, so you could see right here, there's this gate and there's a bridge right before it. So that's one reason why we like to sit there, is because we get to actually see. And here's Tina, who was doing the 33K. She was with Amy and then Amy dropped out. And she was about a minute away, or a mile away from the finish line, I think, from there. It's a mile. And then here we have, this is another great thing. Sometimes you can't be in the race, or you don't want to, or whatever, then you can volunteer. So these 3 ladies all volunteered at the race as well. So it was really great to see them. They weren't at my finish line, but they at least, again, it worked out great. I was at the other finish line. They were at this finish line. Barbara was volunteering on the 5 miler. So again, a lot of TRU Tribe, purple vibes going around at this race. So that was our very fun Copper Corridor experience. And, I do ladies training programs, which they are race specific to us here in Arizona, but you can also still join us. So for example, if you have a race that you're doing wherever you are in the world, as a matter of fact, because all of this is virtual, I do offer that as an option. So even though you might not be training for the same race, or you can fly to Arizona and come hang out with us, which is what Michelle did from Chicago. And she is a TRU Tribe member who is in Chicago. But if you don't want to do that, you can certainly still train with us and you can be part of the ladies training program. And even though you might be doing a different race, you still get the camaraderie of being in the community and sharing all the knowledge. If you have questions or anything that's related to your race experience or anything like that, you have a coach and also a bunch of other women just like you who are getting ready and prepared to have a really good time at a race.